Hey everyone! In today's show, I'll present to you a tablet that stands out both in size and processor type among the average Chinese tablets, plus its price is not high either, as we can get it for less than 80,000 forints. Okay, so today's topic is the M1 Npad Ultra. As the name suggests, Ultra is the manufacturer's most powerful machine right now. But it's not just the most powerful, it's also the biggest. But before we get into the specs, let's take a look at the accessories that come with this device. So first up, we have just one piece. Our charger, which is an EU plug charger with a USB-C connector. The only very important info to know about this charger is that it supports 15 ampere fast charging. The second accessory is a regular USB-C cable. You can plug it into the charger head and the device. I don't think there's much to explain here, it's a completely standard cable. The third accessory is a SIM tool for opening the SIM tray. The fourth one is a manual that doesn't include a Hungarian version. But after all, it's just a tablet, so I don't think it's a big problem. Okay, we've covered the accessories. Now onto the machine itself, which is quite interesting. The N1 Npad Ultra is bigger than usual, featuring not an 8, not a 10, but a 12 times larger display. A few years ago, I would have said that a 12-fold display is completely unnecessary. It makes no sense and is too big to use normally. The reason was that the 8-inch machines disappeared from the market entirely. Basically, you could only get 10-inch ones. For me, the 10-inch was already a bit too big to carry around everywhere. I really liked the old 8-inch ones because they could fit into a bigger pocket as well. By contrast, the 12-inch would have been way too big, as it really only fits in a bag, definitely not in a pocket. Since then, the situation has changed a bit, as manufacturers have brought back the 8-inch machines, so we have a small device, the 10-inch ones, and now here comes the 12-inch. Obviously, there's even bigger devices in the market. As far as I recall, Samsung has ones that are 15.6 inches, so they are really huge. But to show you the difference, I brought devices ranging from roughly 8 to 10 and 12 inches, so I can illustrate the difference in size. So our first device, which I'll turn on if I can find the power button. It will be a 12-track. The battery is low, but I hope it will last for this broadcast. Then we have a 10-track machine. And I so... Okay, and we have an 8-inch device. So you can see the general differences between the machines. We are talking about two pairs in terms of screen size. One pair is roughly 2.5 centimeters, a bit less. So there's roughly a 5 centimeter difference in the diagonal of the machine. I think this way it will be well visible, and you can also see what I was talking about. So the 8-inch device fits in a pocket. The 10-inch device is more suitable for home use, and this 12-inch is the latest one we can use and purchase. Why do I say that this 12-inch one is not big? I say that because even the 10-inch device is already so big that we can't carry it in our pants pocket, shirt pocket, or any pocket. You need a bag to carry this. For home use, it's roughly sufficient, but if we are using it at home, why not use a bigger one? A 12-inch is much more livable, much more usable, especially if we want to use it for multimedia, watch movies on it, or God forbid, even play games. There is actually no difference in the type of display. All those machines feature IPS panels, which can't really be called bad, especially now that we have models with AMOLED panels too. Therefore, IPS isn't such a terrible thing, since the IPS panel, 5 to 10 years ago, these were highly praised. The viewing angles were a lot better compared to old LCD panels, and the contrast and black levels were very good. So actually, these were completely fine, and we were very, very happy if something had IPS instead of LCD. Time passes, a lot of water has flowed under the bridge, and during this time we have already gotten used to AMOLED, and AMOLED offers a lot more than an IPS, but we don't have to be ashamed because of the IPS either. These are perfectly usable displays with perfectly usable brightness. You can even use them in sunlight, although naturally the usability is somewhat limited compared to normal conditions, normal lighting conditions. So in my opinion, there's absolutely no problem with the IPS thing. I think it can be used in tablets and even in phones. But what is still very important with this machine is not just the display, but also the processor. And here I need to tell you a bit more about it. A few years ago, the processor lineup looked like this. There was MediaTek and Qualcomm. MediaTek with its Helio processors. Qualcomm works with Snapdragon processors. MediaTek was the company with relatively good CPUs but terrible GPUs in the budget processors. Qualcomm was the one with good CPUs and excellent GPUs. Overall, Qualcomm processors were stronger, consumed less power, and were much better than MediaTek processors. So if someone wanted to buy a good device, they looked for tablets with Snapdragon processors in the media. Then these devices disappeared, which was likely due to the increasing number of 4G, that is mobile internet tablets, coming to market. Unfortunately, neither MediaTek nor Snapdragon Qualcomm had a processor that it would have supported the B20 band at home. So these machines gradually disappeared in Europe and were replaced by the Tiger chip machines from the 300 series to the 600 series. The 600 series is relatively livable, relatively fast, and even suitable for gaming. The 300 series, on the other hand, is very weak, absolutely entry-level, and was geared towards absolutely entry-level tasks. And there was no other option. We couldn't choose. We couldn't choose Qualcomm, and there was no other choice but Tiger chip machines from MediaTek. The only exception might have been Xiaomi's machines, which were built on Qualcomm 2 or 3 years ago, specifically the 860 processor, which was a relatively powerful processor. And let me then tie performance into this topic, because back then we believed that if you wanted a powerful machine, you definitely had to go for Snapdragon. Helio was just in the it'll do category. But with Helio, the GL chips came in, and in this case the G stood for gaming, and gaming meant a turbocharged clock speed and very good graphics performance for these processors. Because of the GL chips, the Helio processor family, so to speak, seemed. And last year, the Helio reappeared in tablets, specifically the G99 processor. And the G99 processor is indeed capable of gaming with a GPU suitable for gaming and gaming-capable clock speeds. Compared to this, on this tablet, in the new Npad Ultra, it doesn't. It uses a Snapdragon processor instead of a Helio. But this Snapdragon isn't a very modern one, to be honest. It's not very powerful. To give you some point of comparison, the top of the Tiger 6 series scores around 200,000 points on Antutu at home. The G99 scores around 360,000 points on Antutu, and about the same amount. This is the 685 processor in this new tablet. The G99 is entirely on par with this Snapdragon processor in nearly every respect. To understand what that means, think of the Xiaomi Pad 5 from 3 years ago. The processor was a Snapdragon 860. On YouTube, it scored 560,000 points 3 years ago, and the Snapdragon in it, most products scored 360,000 points, which, let's admit, is very weak compared to the Samui Pad from 3 years ago. But these are cheap tablets, all of them, and the goal here isn't to achieve insanely high scores, but rather to use these tablets for as many purposes as possible. And as I said, both the G99 and the Snapdragon have performance that's suitable for gaming. So the main point here is that the processor's name, whether it's a Helio or a Snapdragon, doesn't really matter much. Current cheap Chinese tablets with this Snapdragon or the G99 in this device have similar performance. Let's move on in the presentation. I haven't mentioned that the resolution of the display is 2000 by 1200. This is quite common even for 10-inch tablets. At least the better ones have this resolution. The worse ones, of course, have full HD. Even worse, very cheap ones, because we always work with HD resolution. So in this Ultra, basically the easiest available, we get a better IPS panel in terms of resolution. The manufacturer advertises this device like that it has 20 GB of memory and 128 GB of storage, which would be amazing, especially at the price they are selling it for. But the truth is it actually has 8 GB of memory and 128 GB of storage. This is a common trick played by all the Chinese manufacturers recently, because with Android you can allocate some storage as memory and add it to the system memory. So in this device you have 8 plus 12 GB of memory, making it 20. What you need to know about this is that obviously the speed of the 8 GB of LPDDR4 memory is much greater than the speed of the storage. So we can't say that the performance of these two types of memory is equal. Obviously, the deciding factor will be the 8 GB, which are the physical normal ones. This counts as memory in this case. Since this is a large device and we will mostly use it for multimedia, the manufacturer didn't include it in one piece. No, but instead they put 4 speakers in it, which is why there are 4 speaker grills on all 4 sides. The SIM card in the device is the usual one. You can use 2 SIM cards or 1 SIM and a memory card. The memory card can go up to 2 TB in this case, so you can expand the 128 GB of built-in storage with an additional 2 TB. I haven't even mentioned the cameras yet, 13, and we've got 5 megapixels here, which I think is decent for a tablet. Of course, I recorded a little test video with this device, so check it out now. Well, that's about all this machine can do. I've taken some test shots with it and tried to pick out the better ones. The thing is, this tablet is absolutely not meant for photography. It really struggles. Not too much light, but not too little light either. If you find a middle ground, you can take pretty good pictures with good detail. It simply can't compensate for too much light, and the lens system is probably not adequate for too little light. So you won't be able to use this machine for photography or videography. I mean, who wants to walk around the streets with a 12-inch tablet taking photos and videos, right? I think nobody does. I haven't talked about the minor features yet. There's Bluetooth 5.1, NS Wi-Fi, and support for a 5-satellite navigation system. Navigation, like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, is integrated into the central unit, so if you see the same 685 processor in something, you'll encounter roughly the same capabilities. The manufacturer, Prochinal, claims that this processor is now capable of lane-level positioning in terms of navigation, which means it not only senses which road you're on with your car, but it also detects which lane you're in on the given road. So we're talking about a pretty accurate solution. Obviously, it has a gyroscope, which the manufacturer added as an essential feature, just like in games. It's really important for tablets too, because control often happens by tilting the tablet, and having an accurate and well-functioning gyroscope is crucial. They also highlight that with the right case, this tablet can put itself to sleep when you close the case and wake itself up when you open it. So it has extra features that cheap Chinese tablets usually don't have. I did mention what it was like to use it, but honestly I haven't used this device much. It arrived not too long ago. Obviously I tried watching movies on it and tested its home usage, how things run on it and the speed of running programs. And as you saw, I recorded videos and took pictures with it. I can't say much about it because we get a completely average display and IPS screen, a completely average one, perhaps a bit better. Compared to the Helio, we get an average processor, so in terms of display or speed, this device doesn't offer more than, let's say a Helio G99 machine. What I didn't like was the sound. It's obvious that in a tablet you can't create large spaces behind a speaker. The sounds won't be full, but for this kind of machine I think it's okay. He has an above average drum sound, but I've made a short recording here as well, so check it out. I think we can all agree that we won't be partying on this device. This sound is basically good enough for watching a movie at home with some decent background noise. Obviously we won't get a cinematic experience from it, but it is still a tablet, not a projector. Or for example, not a sound bar. It works with small speakers. This is pretty much what fits into its frame. The question is, as at the end of every show, is it worth buying this machine? Is this size difference worth it that is found in these machines? Because we can get the small machines for roughly 60,000 and the same performance in another for 70,000, and this one is approaching 80,000 forints. So roughly speaking, there's a clear range from small to large here, and I think there's really not much of a price difference. 10,000 forints may have been considered a significant difference a few years ago, but nowadays 10,000 forints is not a huge amount of money. I think if someone wants to buy a home machine, they might not need to go for the one that costs 10 times more. I'd rather choose the one with 12 times the resolution, because I think it's better, more cost effective and more convenient for home use. So overall it's definitely better. Considering these aspects, I think the price below 80,000 forints for this machine is completely fair and affordable. Obviously, compared to more expensive and much pricier machines, there are some negatives and weaknesses, but for the money at this moment, this machine is worth it. We can safely say that it's a best by category, because truly larger devices than this 12-inch one can only be found in the Samsung range with 15.6 inches, which is a completely different category in terms of price and size. As usual, you'll find the link to purchase the tablet under the video on YouTube. You'll also find the link to the written review. Read it, I'll probably be able to share a bit more information in writing, there's more space for it. Plus you'll find the coupon code to get the device for under 80,000 forints. You can take it at a really low price. Currently it can be ordered from a Czech warehouse. So you can buy it not only from China but also from the Czech warehouse, which means it will arrive quickly, without additional customs duties, VAT or shipping costs. So if you like this machine and would like one of these 12 times machines for yourself, I can confidently recommend it. That's it for this video. Be good, take care, and I'll be back soon with another test. Until then, bye.